from eight.
Everybody, it's Dirty Thursday, brought to you by River City Speedway. It helps when you turn up the microphone. Huh?
You're out of practice.
I know. It has been a couple of weeks. Boy, I tell you what, we have got a full studio again today. Corey Litton is in the studio.
Who, me?
And you, the people's champion. Also, my co-host, Stephen Lewis, is also in the studio today. All right, enough of the music, you think? There we go. How you guys doing, by the way?
Not bad. How you doing?
I'm doing
good.
Yep,
all good.
And you're okay?
Oh, for sure.
I feel like I'm really out of place now. I mean, I went beet harvesting, and all of a sudden I missed a couple of weeks, and now I'm back, and it feels good. Do you hear that noise?
Yep. Oh, it might be the.
I think it's your fan.
Is that too close?
That must be it.
It's never done that before though. But
oh my God, here comes that stroke I've been dreaming about my whole life.
Anyway,
I wasn't smelling toast or anything, so I was okay with that. Usually that ringing in my ears is already there anyways, so I'm good.
By the way, today's show, and we do have to turn this up again, is brought to you by Sacred Skin. Your body is sacred. Your body's artwork should be too. Tattoos of a memory of a loved one, an event, or a personal work of art just for you. Sacred Skin Studio is now open in the Grand Cities Mall. High quality and alluring tattoos, custom designs, and make sure to ask about the $50 flash tattoo sale. Sacred Skin Studio has a large selection of body jewelry, clothing, accessories, and a large variety of specialty goods too. And all of September, buy one, get one half off on all body jewelry. Your body is sacred. Treat it that way. Sacred Skin Studio in the Grand Cities Mall across from Rumor Sports Bar and Casino. Call today for your appointment, 701-610-6011, or check out sacredskinmobile@gmail.com. All right, if you have any questions or comments for myself or for Corey or for Stephen Lewis, our phone number, 701-213-0863, 701-213-0863. People already texting. Good morning, Nick Curtis. Al, good morning. Good morning, all. There you go. Good Lord, John. Yeah, I know. Let's do it. Let's do our daily segment called Jokes My Neighbor Tells Me. Here we go. Jokes My Neighbor Tells Me. You know, karaoke is the only place where it's acceptable to butcher someone else's masterpiece and still get a standing ovation from your friends. Is that true?
I usually actually appreciate more the people that are bad at singing than the ones that are good, because the ones that are good know it or believe that they're way better than they actually are.
And the reason I asked is because we're going to get into the karaoke thing, but you ever get to the point, some of these people actually have groupies. karaoke groupies that follow them around to these bars.
And they're 10 times as annoying as the normal people that are out there.
I always thought about opening a karaoke bar and calling it Tone Deaf and Proud. I think that'd be fun. Couple of things I wanted to ask you about first. Okay, we know Red River Valley Speedway.
Correct.
Buffalo River Speedway.
Yep.
Go-karts.
Yes.
You come here and run karts once in a while.
Every once in a while.
And,
I'll fill in up here.
and I'm missing something.
Norman County Raceway in Ada. I've been running the radio broadcast up there for 10 years. And I just kind of picked up a couple years ago doing pit reporting, victory lane stuff out at Viking Speedway out in Alexandria.
Okay, and also Checkers and Wreckers. Tell us about that.
That's right. I've been on KFGO radio now for, I think it's now, this was my 15th season. I just wrapped up on the live side of it. And we've been doing the Checkers and Wreckers victory lap for 3 years now.
Okay.
And, just about ready to wrap up in that season too.
You were kind of one of the first people around here, am I correct in saying this, to actually have a dirt track racing show or a racing show in general? I know Terry Blacklands had one for a while over there, and you know,
Terry was ahead of me, I think, by a couple years. Larry Nelson, of course, also was one of his co-hosts. I know he did a lot on WDAY out in Fargo, quite a bit, and then. Of course, Rod Miller had one for years. He was the original.
Right, right.
I think they broadcast from the building underneath like an hour before the races started back in the day up in Fargo. So, yeah, I'm following in a lot of good people's footsteps, especially, like I said, Rod Miller and Larry Nelson and Terry. They're all great people.
You know, I forgot all about guys like that. You see Mike Speaker's already texted.
He's got to be more specific because there's two
one?
there's two folks.
Casey, I'm just here to hear any new info on the Weedtown Outlaw Speedway for 2025 season.
That's a nice little running bit.
There we go. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. We got the NLRA banquets coming up. When is the date on that?
November 2nd, I believe.
November 2nd, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, did you guys see the news? I'm going to talk a little bit about Dale Jr. Bringing back the Budweiser car.
Oh, yeah.
What's the scoop there? Anybody know?
Well, I think Teresa finally gave up the trademark, so he's able to.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
And so Budweiser, of course, came back, and they never really left. They just Hendrick had a thing with having alcohol sponsors, so that's kind of why it didn't go with him over to Hendrick Motorsports.
Right.
And now we got the 8 back, so he can bring back the good old days, I guess.
Sure. Do you ever have a favorite NASCAR driver for you?
I've been a Blaney-ac since day one.
Oh, sure. Okay.
All the way back to Dave Blaney. But, I mean, originally, I think I was like a Bill Elliott and Davey Allison kind of guy.
Back before restrictor plates. Yeah. Awesome Bill, man. Did 230 miles an hour around Talladega. I was always a Dale Earnhardt fan.
Yes.
When he got killed, I basically quit watching NASCAR for years. And then I'm kind of starting to get into it again a little bit. How about you? Got a favorite?
Well, not so much. Ross Chastain's my favorite right now, but I saw that junior late model with the 8 and the Budweiser on there, and I got to do Wilkesboro a couple years ago, and I forget what was the drink, the pop.
Sundrop.
Sundrop.
Oh, sure, Sundrop.
He had the green car with with Dale's 3 on it and whatever, and that was the coolest thing that we did. That 4-week span that we did in Wilkesboro or whatever, he ran that 100-lap race or whatever, and big crowd and all that, and so it was pretty cool to see that the other day.
Wanted to wish you a belated happy birthday, by the way. I did wish it to you. Was it 15th or 16th? Something like
15th,
15th. I want you to, first off, I'm going to have you tell us about yourself. I don't want to know anything about racing right now. I want to know about you. I mean, I had no idea you had kids or anything like that until I started creeping you a while ago. But tell us about Corey Litton away from the racetrack.
Well, I mean, I'll get started right where it really matters. You know, I do have 4 kids. 19-year-old Casey, 16-year-old Cole, almost 10-year-old Chase, and a 4-year-old Clara. And I love all of them. I mean, they're awesome kids. Mm-hmm. They're going to be way better than I am at anything that they want to do. They're already smarter than me, which doesn't take a lot. But they're smarter. They're already accomplishing a lot, and I'm really proud, and I love all of them.
Oh, that's awesome. The People's Champion. How'd you get that name?
It was available. I've always, being a wrestling fan, I always laughed when The Rock called himself the People's Champion.
Yep.
And then kind of going to Eastbound and Down, the TV show with Kenny Powers, and he called himself the People's Champion also, and I thought that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. Because usually anybody that says they're the people's champion, usually they're not.
Right.
It's just so funny.
That's a great answer because it was available. Tommy Corcoran, good morning. I'm with you, Stephen. I'm a Ross Chastain fan as well. Robin next door. Thank you, Robin. Did you ever race, or how did this whole announcing thing start with you?
Oddly, it basically got started. I mean, I've always been a fan. My racing kind of started with Dave Stork, and my grandpa used to sponsor him back in the 80s, and that kind of got me hooked. But kind of down the line, I'd always, show up. I did a couple of gimmick races. I raced Brent Pulskamp Super Stock out in Lisbon one night, and won that in a gimmick race. It was I was the only car that finished, but I mean, you're always the winner when you play with yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
I got the win. That's all that matters. And then I drove a Roadhog out at the full size Roadhog out at Jamestown at the Stampede one year.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun. I raced go-karts for about 2 years when kind of this whole thing started up, where KFGO picked me up to do a show. And at the Red River Kart Club, they're like, hey, you're talking about our races every week. Why don't you get in one of these? And they were trying to get an adult class going. And looking at it now, I think we really messed up, because all it is just for Stevenator to win. But did he check in yet?
He'll be in now shortly.
He will.
But yeah, I raced that for a couple of years. Stevenator, he has me beaten overall wins.
Yep.
But I have the win streak that he has never even tied yet.
And how long is the streak?
That was 5 wins in a row.
Oh wow.
It was at that point they're like, hey, we're gonna give you a microphone.
Yeah.
But I got picked up.
Call it the Litton class.
Pretty much.
Yep.
And I got picked up at Buffalo River to kind of help out with Ron Krogh and everything like that. And that's kind of where it stepped into announcing. It's something I've always kind of wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit, because Jim Berkmeyer up at Ada at the Norman County Raceway, when he was about ready to be done, the last couple of years, he's like, hey, he was challenging people in the stands to come up here and give it a shot.
Sure.
And I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And because of that, Mark Askelson got the job.
Oh boy.
But
Mark Curtis. There you go.
I'm kidding. He does a good job.
Yeah. It's funny how we all get our start. With me, obviously radio, and I was doing play-by-play sports and all of that stuff. And we got approached to, and I'd been around racing my whole life too. We got approached to do the MC of the demo derby for the fair. And I still remember like it was yesterday. Back then, it was Monica Evevold was kind of my go-to there back in those days. And I introduced myself and asked her, where do you want me to be and how do you want this to roll? And she told me, and I said, okay, where's the beer garden? She says, what do you mean, where's the beer garden? I said, well, I need a beer. Well, you can't work and drink beer at the same time. I said, well, here's your mic. You got the wrong guy. Wait a minute. The rest is history. I still drink a beer or two. Kim Young, you were right, and I didn't even think about this. John, we still have not seen any pics or stories on your co-host Epic Drive on the final night of racing. I will do what I can to get that on for next week or real soon here. That'll be fun. Always fun listening to Corey Charles Cox. I know one thing since we have known each other, Corey, a lot. I hear Duffy's Tavern all the time. And what's the story with you and Duffy's Tavern? Tell me about how that works.
Our family bought that place. My family, my parents and my brother are involved in it. My parents bought it, I want to say about 17, 18 years ago. And I've been a part of that ever since. I did a lot of karaoke gigs there. I've helped out. I've cleaned the place. Done a little bit of this and that for quite a while, and I have helped rotate the stock out there, make sure nothing gets expired.
Sure.
Back when I was doing that.
Yep.
And it's just a nice little place to hang out. I know I've met a lot of great people in that place. And, and there's lots of fun people there.
You've run the touch tunes from multiple time zones.
Don't hey, you ratting me out right now?
No.
I don't. Hey, nobody likes to snitch.
Where is Duffy's? Because I swear I've been there.
It's Main and University, basically, in Fargo. Just right across from Tailgaters, about half a block.
Okay, and when you mentioned the karaoke, I know you are a musician. You play guitar, sing.
I started on drums. I moved to guitar because the girls are better looking when you get to the guitar side.
Drummers
of it.
never get any.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a bass player.
It's a step above the bass player, which is
I was a bass player.
I moved a guitar and really liked it. I like the freedom of being able to actually move around the stage.
Yeah.
And I don't dance very well, so holding a guitar, you can move around and not look as so much like an idiot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I kind of started singing a little bit after that, and I was in a band for quite a while. I think it was 15 to 22.
Wow.
And my band broke up, and I got involved in doing karaoke as a side thing until the next band called, and clearly they haven't.
Okay.
And that's kind of where it went. And down the line, that going through that musicians what purgatory, I guess is what you call it. I ended up with this announcing gig, and I've kind of actually taken what I've learned from the karaoke and put it into this.
Sure. I was a bass player. I way back in the day played in some bands, sing weddings, funerals, all that stuff. I quit singing at funerals now. But my son was playing sixth string. Well, when he got old enough to move away, it's no fun sitting at home playing a bass by yourself. I mean, hey, you know this song? No.
You've kind of gone from one end to the other. You've kind of gone from the funeral to the wedding side.
Well,
of
yeah,
things,
that's right. We better throw a shout out to Jade and
Bryce.
Jade and Bryce. Jade Hastings and Bryce getting married this weekend on Saturday. That's going to be fun. I'm honored that they actually asked me to officiate that. We met with them for a while yesterday. That was fun. He makes a good point here, Joey Berg. Corey's always willing to ask the hard questions in Victory Lane. Now, you and I, Corey, have talked about this. In fact, you've texted me before about some of the things we do say while we're up in the announcer's booth. I'm into the smoking and the vaping thing. Do you have anything that you throw out there where people kind of look at you and go, what the hell did that guy just say? And the other ones are like, well, yeah, he does that all the time.
I usually kind of make fun of the people that stand by the fence.
Oh, yeah.
Steven kind of brought it up off air.
Yeah.
One of the things I said one time, and it's just a lot of these times it's just to entertain myself.
Sure.
Because I don't know how close to anybody's actually listening to me, so I'll say some just random off the wall stuff like, get away from the fence. I'm a big fan of natural selection, but I don't like seeing people get hurt, and I'm kind of conflicted about it. And stuff like that. I know I get flat out pissed off by all the times that I have to say stop smoking, smoking.
Right.
And so I've borrowed your line quite a few times. If you can't get up to walk over to the smoking area, then maybe you probably shouldn't be smoking.
Right.
I feel like the both of you each go up an octave when you have to do that for the fourth time of the night.
And that's it, too, because my phone, there's times I just want to throw it. It usually starts about noon race day. My phone just starts going nuts. I got people messaging me. I got people texting me. I got people calling me, and it doesn't stop. And by golly, too many people know my phone number because if somebody's smoking, they're going to call me. They're going to let me know, hey, there's somebody smoking over here in the West End, and it never ends. But and that is fun because the sheriffs, the deputies will hear me, and they'll look, and I could just say to them, like, hey, look, I can point you out from here. And, do you want to stop because I'm telling you, or do you want to stop because this deputy sheriff down here is going to haul your ass out? It's a pretty simple question.
Yeah.
Yep. How many tracks have you worked in your career? Because you, for a while there, were all over the place.
Oh, that's a tough one. You should have told me or asked me this one beforehand, so I could have done the math on it. But I mean, I've worked in Florida, many tracks down there. I'm just gonna go west. But with working for a while, I worked with XR and Barry Braun and doing a lot of IMCA TV stuff. And I think probably 10 tracks in Iowa I've worked. I know at least 3 or 4 in Florida, Vegas. Done some motocross stuff, running camera in Texas, working at a few other tracks in Texas too. I mean, I'd probably say that I probably worked at about 70 tracks probably.
Wow. How did you get into the camera work and all that stuff?
Should I answer this one correctly, Steven, or should I be nice to you?
Why don't we be nice and go correct with it?
Steven and I both were working down in Florida, and we just had everything went wrong kind of thing. And I jumped on camera basically. Steven was supposed to do it at first, and then he just went down and ran the picture camera. And doing photos, and I just jumped on there.
Okay.
And it just kind of came to me a little bit.
Lindsay, Corey is one of the best at insulting you while announcing. There's nothing wrong with that once in a while. I like
Never
this
heard
one.
of her.
I like this one from Terry. One of the funniest interviews Corey did was one where he was interviewing a feature winner, I think, and he kept bonking the guy with a mic on the guy's forehead. The guy just looked at Corey in shock, wondering what in the world was that all about.
Doug Gardner.
Was
I did that to him more than once.
Was that on purpose? I'm taking
Yes.
it.
It was when I was working at Buffalo River, and Dwayne Peterson, who was a race director at the time, and his brother Loopy, who did the turn one officiating. We were kind of getting sick of interviewing Doug every week, and he was winning in pure stocks quite a bit. The first day I asked the first question, and I pushed the microphone until I felt teeth.
Okay.
So I moved his head back, and then. After that, I asked, "So you got anybody you want to thank?" While still like half smile on my face, and I just popped him right in the head with it. And you can hear it in several different camera angles that people got. You can hear the.
Oh yeah.
And then I did it at the banquet at the end of the year too. I got him back, and he's giving me this look like he's gonna kill me, but we're all in front of everybody.
Yeah,
it's like someone's gonna stop him, right?
Yeah. Do you prefer being up doing the play-by-play or the interviewing? See, like when I call hockey games, I'm a play-by-play guy. I've done color commentary, but I'm not any good at it, and you don't do half the stuff, but I don't know. I think I like the calling the race better than the interviewing. I don't know. I mean, they're both pretty close, but do you have a one that you prefer?
Not really. I mean, I love doing the play-by-play, obviously, because there's, for me, it's being able to follow in the footsteps of a lot of great people that I watched when I was younger. And it's like, I always feel like this is awesome. I'm in the spot where Rod Miller or Ron Crow.
Yeah.
And or Pat Mooney. And I absolutely love that part of it, but doing the victory lane stuff, literally I get to watch the races. I ask 2 questions, I go on break.
Sure.
And I'm fine with that.
In my opinion, the only downfall about doing victory lane is being in the infield, because it's a lot harder to watch a race when you're doing
For sure.
this, the whole time. Do you have a favorite track that you've announced at?
It's like asking me to pick between my kids, but
exactly. It's like, what's your favorite song or your favorite guitar player? I got 20 of them. I can't give you one. All right.
I have been lit on fire by trying to duplicate an Ace Frehley trick before,
nice.
So,
really?
Yep. Burned half my hair off when I had it.
Jeez.
I've lived a life, John. How long is this show today?
Yeah, we can make it as long as you want. My first concert I ever went to, 1977. I was in 7th grade. It was Kiss and Uriah Heep. My mom wouldn't let me see Uriah Heep, the opening band, but she let me see Kiss. Yeah. And I've seen them over 30 whatever years, 4 times, the original 4 members every time in makeup. And I didn't want to go see the new Kiss. I didn't want to go see, the new old Kiss. I wanted to remember them that way, because I've been to some concerts that Gordon Lightfoot, some of these that I wish, oh my God, I wish I never would have went, because I don't want to remember them that way. But I'm still a Kiss freak.
Yeah. I was. I saw Kiss the first time I saw them was in like '97, right after the flood and everything.
Yeah.
And then I saw them again in '99 when they did the farewell tour.
Yep.
Which I think that finally ended last year.
Yeah. Now it's all hologram
26
stuff.
Years later. And I wanted to do that Ace Frehley, the little pyro trick that he had where it spun around. The sparkler spun around on the end of his headstock of his guitar. And a buddy of mine figured out how to rig something up with just cheap fireworks. And except for it went poof and it lit my whole hair on fire. That was at a street dance that I did that at.
Yeah, have you been to a lot of concerts?
I've been to several. It's tough to narrow that one down because a lot of them I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, right. Do you remember what you would think was probably your creme de la creme? The boy, I'm happy as hell now because I got to interview this person. Who would that be, or is there more than one?
I think I know the answer, but
I don't know. It's this one. That's another one that's pretty tough. I mean, yeah, it's real tough to figure that one out. I haven't really locked down one of my favorite guests yet, but I mean, anytime, of course, coming back from being a Stork fan my whole life, getting to interview his kid Corey, in Victory Lane has always been fun, just because, like I said, I go back so far. I mean, a lot of these people are my heroes, so getting to interview pretty much anybody. And what did you think, Steven? What did you think?
Were you involved in the Mark Martin deal at all, or?
I was involved in that a little bit. That was awesome. That was one of my favorite days ever.
I'm just glad the internet's working.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't be an internet service provider. Like, don't waste a single second of his time, because when he goes off, it is impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Has anyone ever told you look like Corey Litton? Jeez.
okay, so that goes back to I was out of the Street Stock Little Dream one year, and I rode with a bunch of people, and we parked next to the USADAS's, and Casey's mom came up to me, and this is when I was still working at Jamestown. I was still working there every Saturday, and Casey's mom said, "Did anybody ever tell you look like that guy, that announcer in Jamestown, Corey Litton?" And I said, "I get that all the time."
One thing I get a lot of, and again, I was radio for 4 decades, but people will introduce myself, or you get introduced to them, and they're like, "I think I know you from somewhere." And then I start talking, and they go, I know you. And then you tell them your name, and it's like, because they know you by the voice, more than anything. But when we talk about interviews, it's so crazy because of the radio. I mean, I got to hang with guys like Ozzy Osbourne, and I've been kicked out of motels of Cinderella and Rat and Poison, but got to interview like Rusty Wallace and Kenny Schrader and guys like that. So, I mean, we do have a few perks, with this stuff that we do.
Yeah, there's definitely a few perks. Yeah, and you brought up Kenny Wallace. I know I got a chance to work with him Sunshine State Mod Tour the first year that was going on, and there were tons of old NASCAR guys that were involved in that Florida Speed Weeks that we were involved with for a while down at East Bay, and that was a lot of fun. You get to hang out with Clint Boyer and Kenny Schrader and Kenny Wallace. Then Mike McLaughlin, you remember that guy?
Oh, sure do.
He was there with Max, his son, and that was pretty cool. Super nice guy.
Wow. God, we go back this far. I mean, I can remember the days when Dick Trickle was racing snowmobiles, because I was racing back then. And when we were talking about Kenny Schrader, have you ever interviewed him?
Yeah, we did a little bit of it.
Okay, did he have was he missing his thumb then, or did he? Okay.
I think we have an old cell phone interview if we could find it somewhere.
The old flip phone.
There was at least a few of them, because I know we had to try to get everybody at least once for that Sunshine State Mod Tour, and that was a lot of fun getting to talk to a lot of those drivers.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot here with your favorite interview and all that stuff. Is there a race that you've called that just boom comes to your head, like that's probably the greatest race I've ever seen and got to call?
I mean, greatest race, I don't know if it was the greatest, but it was most memorable. And that was when Mike Anderson won a feature or a heat race out at the Red River Valley Speedway during the Dakota Mod Tour.
Okay.
But that was because he was 3/4 of a lap down on the start of the race, because he spun out in turn 1.
Okay.
And spent the rest of the race trying to catch back up to everybody. Well, the leader, Matt Speckman, pulled off on the white flag lap, and everybody else went with him.
Oh.
Mike Anderson was the only car that didn't go off all the way.
They all thought they were done.
So he made it back out onto the track, and everybody's whipping around by the scales, and he came around and won. And everybody in the stands was going nuts. Watching the cars coming out of the pits was nuts too, because they're all spinning around like it's a demo derby.
Yeah,
but trying to stay off of each other.
Right. How about you? Favorite race that you've got to witness?
Probably off the spot. It was just like 2011. We had that. Minot got flooded, and that was so unfortunate or whatever. But they kind of gave that weekend to us in Huset's, and it's still the record for lead changes. Mark led, I think, the first 7 laps, and then Donnie and Steve went after it.
Yep.
And I think you were downstairs for that one even, and I think you tell the story. It was just like usually his crew guy had to give him a lit cigarette afterwards. He was
Steve Kidser couldn't even have a cigarette.
Away,
he was so gassed.
Yep.
I'd have to throw that one in there, or of course Kyle Larson. Up here a couple of years back when he went through the infield there, coming out of the in between 3 and 4, and you should have seen the people scatter. Johnny Gibson was next to me calling that race, and his voice even went up another octave, higher than it normally does, and it was like,
and when you watch Johnny,
that Freddie Mercury range right there,
and when you watch Johnny call a race like that, like he's literally like on the edge of his seat or almost standing, and when you watch him call a race like that, he's not voluntarily doing it. He's just naturally rising up out of his seat.
Yeah, he's trying to almost crawl out through the front window there.
Just to get closer. But,
oh, boy.
Yep.
Is there a dream race you would love to be able to call?
Yeah, the Bud Night at Weetown.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever happen, but I mean, they try every year, but they just can't seem to get a race in. It's just too wet there.
Have you ever had one of those nights, Corey, where it was just a train wreck as far as being an announcer from the minute you got there till the minute you left? Because it happens to all of us.
Yeah. Too many of them to really come to mind, but yeah, there's lots of them.
And a lot of the times it's not really our fault.
No.
You know, of things that happen.
No, I mean, sometimes things just don't line up perfectly, or races don't line up perfectly. Track can be kind of difficult to work with one day, and we all have them. I mean, there's usually about a month's worth of them in a year for as many as I make it to. But yeah, I mean, I think I've averaged about 100 races a year for the last 12 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, there's usually about 20 or 30 of them that are pretty much garbage, but it's still better than doing anything else.
You know, I've always thought about that, how it'd be fun to do some more, and I had the opportunities to do more, but then again, I've got to remember I'm still married and have somebody that likes something more than racing all weekend long, every weekend, but she likes it. Steven Ader is finally there. Hey, Steven Ader.
I think he waited until 11:29 on purpose.
I think he did that last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so...
Corey, talking about just one crazy night, your DJ set list sometimes for crazy nights. Well, your first night at go-karts this season, I think that was an interesting set list you had.
Yeah, well, I knew you liked wrestling, so I made sure to throw in a bunch of wrestling themes and go with that.
You played one, and then as a joke, I texted you. I was like, you should play wrestling songs for the rest of the night. I didn't think you would actually do it, but I was just bopping up there in the camera booth.
Yeah, I had it queued up for the rest of the night after that. I knew you'd like that.
And then your set list for the rain delay. I was surprised the crowd didn't riot.
People do get really mad at that because every song I have on there is basically it has mentioning rain or talking about it raining. At one point.
Yeah. Kevin Pappenfuss wants to know, did you grow up in Candu?
I did live there for a little while. That was actually one of the first tracks that I went to was, what do they call it? Towner County Speedway out there at the Towner County Fairgrounds. That's been closed for a long time. I think Kevin won a race out there.
Okay,
I believe. And I believe it was one of them that I was at because it was a fair race.
Okay.
They didn't run like a regular schedule. I just remember them being out there for fair races.
All right. Before we take break, Steven, I wanted to mention the hat. Calgary. Oh, and the shirt.
I matched them up today.
So is that your favorite team? I know it's a Canadian team.
I said it before, I'll say it again, but it's all 7 of them. But I had to wear them today because the other night they came back and beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And they weren't supposed to be anything this year.
Yeah, so Johnny's mad about that one.
Yeah, right. But 5-0-1 to start, and just one of those teams that is just like... let's just keep losing and get the high draft pick this year. Yeah. They haven't lost yet. All right, let's ride her out.
See, Edmonton's tried that for years, and it never works, does it?
No, it doesn't.
And I wanted to show a little love. I don't know if you could see it, but showing some support to actually Craig Croker gave me this shirt. Craig and Jack, thank you very much. But we are going to take a break here. There you go. We're going to take a break in just a couple of minutes. It's going to be fun. I got a lot more for you guys. Corey Litton, the People's Champion, along with our co-host Stephen Lewis on Dirty Thursday, brought to you by River City Speedway today. And we'll be right back with more after this. Life doesn't ever seem to slow down. Everything needs to be done right now. Well, when it comes time for an oil change, stop into Valvoline Instant Oil Change. You know, most changes are done in about 15 minutes. Valvoline Instant Oil Change does more too. Tranny and coolant flushes, tire rotations, and batteries. And included in your oil change, they're going to top off your fluids, check your tires, battery, lights, wipers, and cabin air filter too. And you get discounts for fleets and the military. You know, they can text and email invoices and coupons and mention Grand Forks Best Source and get $10 off your oil change. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. They're open Monday through Saturday with no appointment needed. Pickup and delivery is also available if you live in Grand Forks. And Valvoline Instant Oil Change is now hiring. If you'd like to join their team as an assistant manager, customer service rep, or lube tech, stop in to find out more. Valvoline Instant Oil Change for a complete oil change and more. They're at 3325 South 38th Street, or call them 701-780-8462. And make sure you tell them Grand Forks Best Source sent you. All right, right, here we are, Dirty Thursday, brought to you by River City Speedway. We are back. Corey Litton, of course, one hell of a racetrack announcer, is here, along with my co-host, Stephen Lewis. And thank you guys for coming in today again.
Oh, we're live.
We are live. We are live. Definitely quicker on that soundboard than both of us are on the racetrack. Casey said that.
Usually.
Yeah. How much, and everybody's different, but how much do you prep? Say you're going to do your Friday night show at the racetrack. How much do you prep? How much is involved with what you do? Or is it you've been doing it for so long, there's not a whole lot to do?
It depends. I mean, I guess it depends on my mood most of the time. But as far as like music prep and everything like that, it's like, I mean, I spend a lot more at the beginning of the season than I do towards the end. It kind of tapers off because it kind of comes naturally after that. But I would say several hours before. I mean, for every hour that I put in at the track, every hour I put in the show, it's probably about 2 hours per hour that I actually do.
Oh, wow. Okay. See, like me now, I mean, I've got my routine. I go early, I get set up, do my sound checks, and then I head to the pits. Just kind of get a feel for who's there, find out if there's any gossip going on or anything like that. And then it's so different because you have to roll with the flow and roll with the punches. You never know what's going to happen and what's going to go on. But I don't do as much as you do, and it probably shows. You can probably tell. Tim Schwann's too cold now for John Roberts to wear Crocs. I am actually wearing shoes today with socks. He puts the fleece lining in his. I do have some of those too, by the way. One thing that I really wanted to ask both of you guys about, there's a lot more bitching and moaning and complaining involving dirt track racing all across the country. We see tracks closed down all the time. I wanted to ask both of you guys, have you noticed a lot of changes in the years you've been around racetracks? And being an announcer, because this happens to me, are you ever the whipping post for the racetrack? Because, I mean, well, think about it. You're the voice.
Right.
You're probably the face, too, of these particular racetracks. And I know I've gotten emails at my company here. I've gotten people that have messaged me, and everything's like my fault. You know, I can't help it. The price of a Busch Light went up. It's not my call, you know. But are you used as a whipping post, and what changes have you seen?
Oh yeah, it definitely happens. I know anytime it rains, there's usually somebody that's angry and yelling at the booth. Any bad call, they're yelling at us for some reason, and then there's a certain amount of fans, we'll call them, that like to nonstop message the page.
Oh yeah,
or me, or stuff like that, and nitpick every little thing I do out there, and they get blocked on Facebook for a reason.
Sure.
Because you can't really sit and deal with that all day.
No.
All day. Yeah, we definitely get a lot of guff from a lot more than anybody really knows.
Now, does that bother you? I mean, because sometimes, a lot of the times they're wrong.
Yeah, most of the time they're wrong.
Well, you didn't do this. Well, yeah, you did. You just didn't hear it.
Yeah.
You know?
And you try to do the best you can to your abilities, but you can't make everybody happy, and everybody's usually at my show.
Have you seen a lot of
big joke?
Yeah. Have you seen a lot of big changes in your racing career or your announcing career?
The main thing I have always really paid attention to is safety. That's always been improving quite a bit with head and neck restraints. With now the light sievers becoming a thing. I mean,
sure, right.
I remember when race sievers were first starting up, and once you think about it, I remember it happened back when the old half mile was still out there in Fargo. Is when I first really originally caught that what that was, and had no idea what it was. Transponders being a big thing.
Oh, huge.
And that allows us to have, you know, a night where you have 8 different classes and get it in under 4 hours.
Absolutely. Makes, well, for an example, the John Sites, you get 26 cars or whatever it is that makes that feature 92 laps. You turn your head for a second from the leader, and it's only about 3 laps away, and they're already lapping cars. And you can't find where the dang leader is. You got to look at your computer and stuff. But how about you? The changes that you've noticed, good, bad, over the years, your opinion?
Well, it was kind of funny that he brought up the receiver and the transponder thing, and it was Red River Valley Speedway first, and I remember it was about March of that year in Mr. Friedland's social studies class. I was reading about it, all the changes they were going to make to the half mile there. Well, pretty soon, it wasn't more than a few days after that, Mom came home and was just like, hey, Wayne just bought all the same stuff that Fargo just got. Do you want to, like, learn that stuff or whatever, and so it kind of went from my high school graduation right to the track to start running that program or whatever, and I ended up doing it at places like Bristol and North Wilkesboro. But from that end, the changes. But I also feel like from when you first asked the question, it was kind of one of those. Have you seen the changes in all of the complaining or whatever? I felt like this year was better. The last couple were kind of pretty rough, in the complaining side or whatever. But I thought this summer went a lot better than a few of the last ones.
Well, we you pull sprint cars away and oh boy, it's like taking somebody's dog from them. They get all butthurt about it. Well, I get it. I mean, we're a sprint car town here. Lindsay, I lined up next to Mitch Johnson one time, and he goes, Johnson with 300 career wins, and starting next to him with the exact opposite number of wins. That is classic. Between Corey and Steven, I don't know how they hit that many shows. I was feeling the burnout and exhaustion at the end. And Kaylee, I would imagine you did. We were just talking about you yesterday. I remember who I was talking with, but we will be getting you back on the show. We're talking, of course, about the National Wissota BMOD Rookie of the Year's mom right there. And Amanda Jo Enright, who's this schmuck? Looks vaguely familiar. They're showing you all kinds of love.
That's Steven right there.
Be more specific, I think.
Or maybe she forgot the S. Or who are these schmucks? You are you a sports fan too?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got a favorite?
I usually pick like two teams that never have a chance of playing each other in the playoffs. So
okay, sure.
I'm a Philadelphia Phillies fan and a Twins fan.
Okay.
And then also a Vikings and Jets fan.
Oh, okay.
Hockey, it's still kind of up in the air, but more of a Dallas Stars fan. The real Stars.
The Minnesota Stars. Anyway, yep.
Steven was with me at a Dallas Stars game one time against the Wild, and I think I did some pretty excellent heckling.
And you're a Bison fan.
Devin Dubnyk heard you the whole time.
There you go. Amanda
from
Jo,
the fourth deck.
Yep.
Amanda Jo fixed it. Schmucks.
There we go.
That'll work.
Go. I want to get back to your band days. What were some of the band's names that you were in?
It was mainly just there was one called Corey Litton Band, which was kind of like my Spinal Tap thing, where I just basically put together a lineup of people to go on like talent shows in high school and in college. And then there was Lakeside, which was myself and my drummer, who I taught how to play. He listened all of that whole day that I taught him, and his mom on keyboards.
Oh wow.
We did a lot of oldies, a lot of Beatles up to about mid 80s kind of music, and with me being 20 years younger, or 25 years younger than our keyboard player, we all had different kind of styles that we brought to it.
Yep.
And I think it made it work.
Okay.
Luckily, nobody had phones back then to really record how bad I was.
Was there ever a song? Because I went through the routine too, and the things back in the day, and was there ever a song? Because there's certain songs that bar bands will play, never fails. You're gonna hear the song, but was there ever songs that when they requested it, you just went, oh man, here we go?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. A lot of people are requesting the stuff that we put in our third set. The stuff to end with.
Right.
They're like, I want to hear Freebird now. Yeah. Like, no, we play Freebird and we're trying to figure out how much time we got left.
Yeah,
and then we play that solo as long as it takes to fill in that time.
But you don't hear too many bar bands play Freebird, that's for sure.
No,
I'm talking
it's
like
a hack.
It's old time rock and roll is one of the ones where I just couldn't stand. And what was the Tommy James redone by Billy Idol?
Moni
was another one. It's just like, oh man. What a great question from Casey. What drivers would you guys pick to be in a band with you?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Bloomer would have been one for me. I don't know.
That is really tough. I don't know of anybody having any musical talent in this whole thing.
You ever heard a sprint car driver sing?
No, but I've heard them squeal.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. There we go. I want to play a little game with you guys.
Okay.
It's called Who Wore It Better. Let's take a couple pictures here, and we'll take a look on the monitor, and we're going to see who wore it better.
Boy, we're really digging deep in this one.
Oh boy!
Oh man!
Look at that hair.
Yeah, that was a couple years away from it being burned off.
Okay.
And that is the guitar I used with that.
Okay. Oh wow.
And I'm also wearing leather pants in that picture too.
Oh boy, how did those come off? Yeah, that's me.
Wow.
When I had hair. Oh, I had more hair than that at one time.
I was about to say, who is this?
Did you learn how to grow a beard after this?
I can't grow a beard still to this day. I'm almost 60 years old, and I still can't. No, that was when I
thought that was you.
Yeah, oh yeah, I used to perm it and platinum highlight it and all that crap. And I do have hair. It's just I always wear a hat. Okay, we've got more. Look at that.
That's at Duffy's.
Yep. Man.
That was about 30 more pounds ago.
Wow.
And yes, still had the hair at that point.
Yep.
It was starting to fall out at that point.
Okay.
Too.
Extensions. Even.
This was, I don't know, Steven, you might remember when they had the Team Erase Cancer, the benefits for the sprint car drivers dressed up like women.
Yep.
I had grown my hair for a good part of a year and my beard to auction it off. I was going to let somebody shave my head, give me a haircut and a beard cut, however they wanted to.
That's your own hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And so they finally... I was hoping to raise a couple $100. I think it raised about $1,200. So I was really surprised and happily surprised about that. But that's what I looked like after they gave me the haircut and left the one strand hanging there. But yeah, the beard, I can't. I've tried to grow a beard like that again. I don't know what the hell happened there. It just all worked out.
You kind of look like you're in a new wave band called Flock of What the Hell.
Yeah, because then you put those dorky Buddy Holly glasses on. Okay, we're trying to figure out these pictures. Now, that's an old racetrack.
I threw a couple in for you.
That's Wheatown right there. That's
there we go.
From turn 3 looking towards the grandstands.
Wow.
You can kind of see that there's a little bit of where the underwater truck is.
Yep, yeah, the underwater truck.
And where the pit concession stand is and where that floats around to every once in a while. And where the scales used to be.
Man, that is crazy. All right, this is the one.
Yep. And that's 1988 out at Viking Speedway in Alexandria, Dave Stork.
Okay,
and
okay.
That Bernie's Motor Supply, that was my grandpa's company that he sponsored.
Oh, sure. Okay. What else have we got here? I know we got a couple of more. Okay.
Roughly where I sat at Wheatown.
Wow. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
And you see these places now, it's, boy.
That would have been, that is Bristol right there, working alongside Nick Robbins originally from Arkansas.
Okay.
Nice fella. He plays, actually, he's a way better musician than I am.
Okay.
Except for he just doesn't know how to play any music that anybody knows.
Oh.
That's why.
One of those guys.
One of the days that I probably came off the bench and went from parking cars to working in the booth.
Sure.
That one predates me. That is turn 1 in Fargo. If you ask Corey Van Mill about it, he says Tom Corcoran did it. He started it. But
Tommy, I know you're watching.
Yes, Tom about it. I'm pretty sure he has a completely different opinion.
Okay.
But, I think the 2 car there is that's Don Gumpke.
Mm-hmm.
Blue car there is Corey Van Mill. I think that red and yellow one is Bionfeld. I'm not totally sure in that one, but I think there's Ron Lasky in there too. Big Joe was in there. Yeah, it had pretty much everybody.
I had to get that hair in there too.
Yeah, that was recording our second hit album that nobody bought. Our demo, that was day 2 of it. As you can tell, I really didn't go to bed.
That was
the first night.
Kiss Alive 2 shirt, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
And that's Rocky. That was our keyboard player in our band.
Okay.
And pretty much the heart and soul of the whole project.
Now there's a good shot. Look at that.
I don't know if I can stretch like that anymore. That was I think
Damn near
roughly
blew a hamstring looking at that.
That was roughly the first season when we opened back up. Someone said they found Josh Johnson actually, I believe, found the picture of Rod Miller sitting in the open window of the old press box, and I'm leaning up against a stair on the outside the door, and I about fell down the stairs.
Would you ever? I mean, Johnny does this, and the white pants, the traditional look. Would you ever do the white pants thing, or do you? Or I mean, I don't own a pair of white anything. I don't think. I mean, except T-shirts.
I've thought about it, for like an old school night or anything like that, but I don't see myself looking very nice in white pants.
Yeah, I got dared one time to dress like Jim Corcoran did by Ryan Grindy. And so I wore the white shorts and I had the black socks up to the knees, and Jim was such a great guy. I mean, I got pictures with him and I and Dwayne Sannon and stuff. But I did it, and I made the $100, and it was pretty cool. A lot of people said you should keep dressing like that, and I thought, well, no, I really don't need to keep doing that. I remember the one turn. One was there. No.
Oh, the pile up. The
Oh,
up picture.
sure.
Yep.
You know, you were showing the pictures of Weetown. You see tracks close all the time. I got my start actually in Warren. Way back in the day. And I don't know if you ever drive between Warren and Thief River on Highway 1, but you can see on the little farm there, it was the Holton farm. You can see the remnants of the old little racetrack there with you still see the light poles and stuff. But
I walked over there once.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
Yeah, and I knew those guys real well, like, growing up there. But tracks across, the area or whatever, any ones that you just really hurt, to see them shut down. I mean, they all do, but...
It took me well over 20 years to go look at Weetown.
Yeah.
And that's even just driving by it. And then I think it was about 14 years ago, I think it was when Scott Saylor and I decided to go over there from the racing life and amongst lots of other stuff over at the Red River Valley Speedway area. But we decided to go over there and have like a quick small reunion. And as I got closer to it, I kept slowing down. Like,
didn't want to get there.
It just felt like you're going to go see the grave of like your favorite uncle and find that it was open. And it just hurt to go over that way because I don't know why. The place was an absolute dump, but I loved it. Mm-hmm. It was our dump.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how it didn't kill more people. The way that place was designed, I mean, you had a slew in the infield and off the back straightaway and partially off the front straightaway. Larry Krause himself, he used to say, a good sportsman racer from back in the day. He said, you used to know at night where you were running on the track by which front tire was kicking up water.
Oh, wow.
And then the front stretch wall was held in by basically poles.
Yeah.
And that were holding the bank in. And a lot of people hit those things, and it was like a cheese grater. It just ripped cars apart. The safest place on there was the one concrete wall they put in. That kept you from going straight into trees.
Oh, boy.
And then they basically dug out a berm to keep cars from going into the other trees. And the place was scary how dangerous it was, really. And I can't believe it didn't kill more than the one that it did.
Wow.
But it made such great racing. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going uphill in the front stretch, egg-shaped corner going into one, and then going downhill in the back straightaway through the slough. And then sky high into turn 3, and then it opened up and like went behind the grandstands and came towards the front stretch.
Wow.
It was definitely designed by eye, and it made for fantastic racing. Like I've seen, a lot of people are car count snobs and stuff. They're like, oh, they didn't have 24 cars there tonight. I don't want to go. That class. They need to have 25 lightning sprints.
Yeah,
and that does make it better actually. But people are like that. Some of the best racing I've ever seen in my life were 3 cars in a race at Weetown.
Yeah.
One of them was a Fox body mini stock.
Oh, wow.
Racing against a Chevelle and a Camaro, and the mini stock won.
Oh, geez.
And the place went crazy. It was one of the best races I've ever seen in my life.
I remember I called a race at Buffalo River one day or one night, and it was 2 of the what are the little not the lightning sprints, but the little
Legends.
The Legends. Yep. It was 2 brothers. They were the only 2 there. And it was funny because in the heat race, one brother took the other one out, spun him out, and then in the feature, he returned the favor and spun him out. 2 cars on the track. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Tommy Corcoran, I was wondering when you were going to get back to us. I remember running the rest of that race with no body panels on the driver's side, but no recollection of how it started. It was 1980, for God's sake. I blame a lot of my memory problems today, Tommy, on the 80s. I hear you, man. Yep. Yeah, it was that was about the year it all started for me. It was 1980. I think I was a sophomore in high school. But when we see these tracks close, you'd mentioned how many years it had been closed before you guys went and visited. It only takes about a year or 2, and it looks like it's been 20 years. But even to still see that it's a racetrack after all that time, a lot of the times you might see a little bit of banking, and a lot of times just maybe the light posts that held lights. But guys like us, we can all say, you know what, there was a racetrack there one time, when most people go, huh? I don't see no racetrack there. Wasn't that mini stock a yellow Ford at Weetown?
No, I think it was a blue Fox body Mustang. It was number 1. I believe Mike Dahl, I think, was who was driving that one.
Oh, okay. I grew up with a guy with that name, but I don't think it was the same guy. Winter plans? What are you going to do? I mean, well, first off, do you want to talk about your new venture? Are you doing something different now?
Yeah, I kind of picked up some hours working for Mike Speaker at Superior Customs. So a lot of the driver cards and stuff that you guys get, he does it, and Steven does a lot of the work with him too.
Yep.
A lot of wraps, a lot of designs, a lot of stuff. If you want signs made up or banners or anything, we got tons of stuff. I've been drinking out of the one of the mugs that I got from him a couple years ago, and for trying to do product placement here.
Yeah, and it's good job, by the way. It's remember when Mike started, and it's like how this company is growing because I got lucky to meet you guys last couple of weeks ago or whatever it was at the Dolly Down, and I knew he was one of the guys there. I didn't have your phone number. I knew because we had gotten off that day for half the day for beats because it was too warm or something. But I brought my wife down. She had an appointment at the VA there and got to meet with some of you guys. And I had called Mike because I got his number. And he says, no, he goes, I'm just too busy. He goes, I'm just way too busy to do it. So I was hoping there was going to be some people there I knew. And then you showed up. And, of course, then I had to leave right when everybody else started showing up. And I'm walking out the door. Donnie Schatz is pulling up in his pickup and walking in. And I went, hey, Donnie. And he goes, hey. And that was it. I went home.
Yeah, that was literally the day Mike hired me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he's like, hey, do you need a job? And I'm like, I could work. Yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't mind picking up a few more hours.
Sure. I need some stuff made for banquets coming up. Amanda Joe.
It's coming. It's in the works. I promise.
Okay.
Speaking of which, is my other mug going to be done here anytime soon? The one I ordered in April there, Steven?
I did it 10 minutes after we talked about it the other night.
Okay. All right. So I should be getting it sometime in June
of 26.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh boy. Hey, we deal with people like that around here too. Winter plans? Do you have winter plans? Are you going on the road? Are you doing calling any races or?
I'm gonna stick around close to home again. I like when I was talking about doing 100 races a year for the last 11 and 12 years or so. This is the first year I've done it where I really haven't hardly traveled over an hour away.
Yep.
Last year I was supposed to do the ice racing out in Underwood, Minnesota.
Okay.
But for the first time ever in my career, we had races canceled because it was too nice.
Yeah. It was the same with up here at Erskine. Yeah.
And weird thing is it's the closest track to Weetown. It's
yeah.
underwater. And I'll probably hit up a few up in Erskine this year because I really get a kick out of watching those.
Oh yeah, I've only been there once because they keep asking me to come up there and do some announcing, and I finally went to just go watch. And it's funny because you sit right in there. There's the Undertaker's brother right there.
Whoa.
Yeah. He just waved at us. Where you can sit in the car.
Close to greatness.
And they've got, you just tune it into the radio frequency that it's on. But it was so funny because the people announcing the races were in another car and just like, oh, that Fred, did you see that move that guy just did?
There goes Liam.
It's hilarious. But man, I tell you, it's so much fun watching these ice racers. And when you get up close to these cars and you look at them and you think, I used to drive a car like this back in the 70s. We were jumping ditch crossings with them. But these cars, I mean, they're just like some of the B mods you see and stuff. They're 3 wheels.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole way around this.
Well, they got floater rear ends in them.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty fun.
I think Liam Scow, I think they brought their ice racer out and ran it with the Piers a couple times.
Okay.
In Devils this year. But I'm definitely looking forward to see it on ice for sure.
He ran that in the Menomin Enduro also.
Oh, okay.
So I think it actually is a pure stock.
Okay.
All right, the Scowboys. Yeah. So otherwise, do you like it not going on the road as much? It's kind of a. We're not getting any younger.
I've spent a lot of time away from my family, and I've missed a lot of really big milestones, and it's I know I'll never be able to make up for that.
Right.
But I can do what I can with the rest of the time that I have.
Sure.
So making that decision was a big thing. I'm actually gonna plan on taking a little bit more time off. I'm going to step back a little bit from a couple of things that I'm doing. No major announcements yet. I'm just kind of waiting to figure it out.
Can I ask, how old are you?
I just turned 42.
Okay, God, he's still young. Kiefer Kynes, and you know what? Maybe we'll talk to Dale here for a quick second.
Show. Yep.
Yeah, Baja Group races their four-wheel drive cars in the ice too. Dale, by the way, you were out at the Kiefer Kynes farm out there, weren't you, for this last weekend?
Yeah, called that last Saturday just outside of Goodridge. What a great track the Kynes carved up out there. It was such a treat. All kinds of big. They had a chicane in the back, kind of like at River Cities there, and yeah, so cool. And and you know the Dirty Thursday tradition continues. Dylan Horn was a guest on the show, and he won his future race there.
Wow!
So big props to the Baja Group. It sounds like like Kiefer said there in the chat. I think they're going to try and do a winter race out there, extend the track. He said.
Oh,
I think
cool!
He's shooting to do like a mile-long track. Still in the works though. So.
Oh man, maybe I'll get to make it to that one. I always got something going on like beats or something. That's 2 years in a row now that the Kynes have called me up. I actually went to school with either his dad and uncle or both. I mean, I don't know. Kynes is old school. What about you for this winter? I know you used to travel all the time in the winter too, but you used to travel all the time for racing. You've scaled back a lot.
Corey and I are a lot alike. We used to do all of that. We didn't have an off season, you know.
No.
We just kept rolling and whatever. But I might mix a few things in this winter again. The last two, I was just like, I'm a homebody now. Like we've done our miles, we've done our time. Like it's time to
Really isn't much more to prove.
No,
Right.
Exactly. Well, and it really began with, scoring at Bristol, 10-0 at Bristol. It's like, well, what do you do now? You don't top that, you know?
Yeah.
I went through the rest of that season, and it was just like, I got to get back home, and make things right around here as much as you can,
And
so yeah,
there's nothing wrong with laying on the couch and flipping through the channels to see what's not on.
Right.
I mean, it's usually at the end of the year, and this was a different year because usually at the end of the year I'm burned out. I mean, I'm just when that John Seitz is done, we have one more week, and I can't wait for it. This year was different. I wasn't burned out. I wanted to keep going. I don't know why. But it came to an end way too soon for me this year.
Although Mike and I were on the way to Detroit Lakes yesterday, and it was like, can we find a sponsor for a November race if it's going to be night?
Well, and that's usually what happens.
We kind of go back and forth. It's just like, oh, we're done, but it's like, it's still nice. I'm not done yet.
And that's what always happens. The first weekend, the first Friday after the season's done, I'm glad. We can go out and do something tonight. By the second weekend, and it's usually 75, 80 degrees out on a Friday, and it's like, damn, we should still be racing. Why aren't we racing?
I made a run out to Nate Reynolds a couple weeks ago, and I went up. He's out in Manville, and I went on 81 there. I almost took the left into the pit entrance.
Oh,
into the racetrack,
yeah.
And I was like, I had to turn right quick again. I was like, no, that's not where I'm going. But
I generally don't get to that point though of everything kind of just stopping, and I wish it was still going because once it actually gets going, I mean, you're going. Like this last year was 6 nights a week for me for a while.
Yep.
Up until right around August, and then it just kind of slowly stops after that.
Yep.
And eventually when it gets to the very end, I'm like, oh, there might be another race going. I don't feel like going.
Yeah.
that was another question I had for you. Did you get to 100 this year?
105.
105.
Wow.
And you didn't go super far for many of them.
As far as traveling this year, the furthest I went away was Wishick. And then that was it. And I only went there once.
105 and your furthest trip was Wishick.
Second furthest was Brainerd.
Wow.
Okay.
So, see, usually every year I'll do some stuff at Devil's Lake. Once in a while I get lucky enough to go up to Buffalo River, Greenbush. This year I didn't go anywhere. Stayed home.
Sorry I got kicked off of the tour so you don't get the one time out at Buffalo River.
Yeah, well, the last time it was Chad and I both out there, and we had a great time. Chad and I and Amanda Joe sat up at the booth together. And the thing is that's such a nice facility.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that facility. I would, if it wasn't so far away and on a Sunday, I'd be there a lot more, I could tell you that. Tommy Corcoran, scoring back, kids. Welcome to my world. He says that every year. Tom, we're just gonna keep asking. You coming back next year? Because he'll never tell me.
I'm still waiting. I asked him if I could get a 60th anniversary door from him when he finishes that season.
Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool?
That's funny. I say the same thing to him. I'm just like, well, 60's next, and he's like, oh,
yeah,
no way.
We might have to take down the Anderson door panel. We'll have to talk to him about that one too. Anything you guys want to add into today's show? I mean, I can't thank you enough for coming in here today, Corey. It's a long drive.
I was wondering if Dale, did you work in the cavalry charge at all?
Yeah, I got a little, just a brief audio clip if you want to put on some volume here, John.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Here you go.
One of the things I like. Man,
Wow, I didn't even know you guys were going to do that.
Great stuff.
But the reason why I had Dale throw that in there, one of my favorite things about Corey is he has kept that alive. That is a Rod Miller thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, we all of us here in town, like, we're not Red River Valley Speedway people, we're Grand Forks people, but even if your one trip of the year was down to the Outlaws, even if your one trip was down to the Outlaws, you looked forward to that and Rockin' Robin and that playlist and whatever, and you've kept all of that alive, and we all appreciate that, you know?
And one of the things that I like about doing that, working out there at Red River Valley Speedway, of course, is just knowing that I'm in the same seat as greatness, you know, and I get to follow that. And one of the things that I had a lot of talks with Rod Miller. I've luckily had the chance to really kind of catch up with him quite a bit, and he said, we might not have the same shoe size, but don't worry about filling them because you're fine.
Yeah. And how cool is that? I mean, I've had the conversations with Pat Mooney and some of the guys before, Bobby Hultgren and guys like that. And when they tell you they wouldn't do anything different, you're doing a great job. What can you say?
Yeah.
But thank you.
It's like it kind of hits you really, really good. I mean, I know getting to work with Ron Krogh for a couple of years before I took over for him, and he's been nothing but supportive. Pat Mooney, when he shows up, is absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
just very supportive. And Rod, anytime he can make it out there, is just the nicest guy.
Right, and I've always considered Pat Mooney the best. I really did, but I don't get out as much as you guys do either to go to these other tracks. Pap and Fuss, Kevin, we finished our 3% beats this morning. Man, I need a day off. We've been going since August, but I guess we're starting corn today. Crap, retirement sucks. I tell you what, the beet harvest beats me up. Last year I worked and did the harvest. Dumbest thing I could ever do. I mean, for dumb. I mean, I was just a zombie by the time we got done. Mike Speaker says classic with the tune. God, I hate that, according to Heather.
I feel like your last 3 years have been totally different. You went on the Italy trip 2 years ago, and then last year you tried to do both, and this year you just stuck to beats.
Yep,
so.
pretty much. Pretty much.
You've learned your lesson.
I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old.
I think the lesson of today's show is we're all learning.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's a great idea. We're never too old to learn. How's that?
That makes me feel better because I've done a lot of that lately.
Yeah. And you know what? Both of you guys are still young enough to be thinking about this. I mean, I'm going to be 60 here in a couple of months, and you think about it, where the hell did my life go? How you've got all these stories and all this stuff, and you think, geez, I'm going to be 60 years old. Now I can think about retiring. There we go.
I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah. Okay, anything else out there that you guys want to talk about? Or should we wrap this thing up?
I think I got mine in. So.
And how about you, sir?
Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah.
Kevin, thank you. Great show. Corn harvest is hard. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, Corey, the people's champion. I was just throwing it out there because, it's not easy to get somebody on a Thursday morning to make a drive, especially from Fargo or somewhere else, and to come onto this show.
Boss is somewhat lenient.
Well, that's nice, and I'm glad. I really, really didn't think I was going to see you here.
Just looking over to see if you check in after that.
Yeah, who's that again?
Yeah. By the way, next week, who'd we say we got on again?
Cole Schill and Dustin Strand.
Oh, that's right. Cole Schill and Dustin Strand. Yeah. Dustin's been on a little bit lately, but he's the NLRA champ. And, of course, that is going to be a couple of days before the NLRA banquet. And the reason Dustin's been on a little bit more than others lately is because he knows better about the luck we have. So he, of course, booked himself in early June to be on the day before the day the site started.
I might have kind of booked it for him. I was like, let's win this thing this year.
And it worked. He won the first 2 days anyway. And he came awfully damn close. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everybody, for watching. It's a great show because of the guests we have on the show, and that's why, folks. Corey Litton, Stephen Lewis, of course, our guest host, and thank you to our producer today, Dale, the producer. You guys are awesome. Thanks again for hanging out with us today on a Dirty Thursday, brought to you by River City Speedway, and also brought to you by Rumor Sports Bar and Casino. They're right across the hall here. I can look to the left and see the big light sign on the door. By the way, Rumors, not at Rumors, but there's a big sports card and memorabilia show coming up, buying, selling, trading, Saturday, November 2nd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Ramada by Wyndham, 1205 North 43rd Street in South Grand Forks. You can call 701-740-5278 or email btyrell@umn.edu for all the information. Or you know what? Stop into Rumor Sports Bar and Casino, grab yourself some good grub today, a sandwich and a side for just $7, and talk to BT and find out all about this. Don't forget, UND hockey, UND football, all the big UND games and concerts. Jump on a bus at Rumors. Pretty damn cool. He's even actually had that bus go to the racetrack. Thank you all for watching. Big screens and TV streams, are they on today? At 1 o'clock, we got Brew Brothers tonight. Yep. At 9 o'clock, how about that? Have a great day, everybody. Let's go, Vikes. Catch you in the morning. Remember to like, share, tag, and follow us. Hit that notification bell on your smartphone. You never miss a show. It dings every time we go on the air. Pretty cool. Hey, the Forks are great. Well, Grand Forks, best source. We've done give the Forks their identity back.